What's happening, beautiful people of planet Earth? Unfortunately, today is not a really beautiful subject for me, but something I have thought over a lot and come to the conclusion that I need to share, just in case maybe it helps anybody find something that they're missing, helps anybody out there in their health journey that might be touched by cancer. I'm sure at least some of us, if not most of us, have had the unfortunate disease kind of touch someone around us, or specifically them. This case, it's my good buddy and pet Jaxs. He's a boxer blue tick. He's the coolest little dude ever. He's 13 years young. For people that have known him and met him, he's a goofy boy that doesn't know any boundaries, bubbles, anything like that. He can come off kind of intense at first, but he's just a lovable, goofy guy. And unfortunately, we noticed he was slowing down on our walks. He started getting bloated, went to the vet, and the words they were using were throwing around words like rupture and bleed out really quickly. So he has a large mass in his stomach. It's kind of pushing on everything. He stopped eating his homemade food, and that was another sign, as well as the walking and the obvious bloating. After the first kind of sticker shock of all the information you get bombarded with and gut checked with, they don't have very good options for you, I guess, right now. So after kind of processing everything, I think I've said before, I went home and I didn't really sleep. Went for a walk, and then didn't sleep that night, and then just started researching natural ways to cure cancer, fight cancer. Finally came across on YouTube the search words, I guess you would call it, how to starve cancer. There was a couple different videos and doctors, and the two that I would suggest, and they vary differently. One is, I believe the term is endogenesis, which is the vascular blood cell buildup of cells in the body. And that's Dr. William Lee. And he is very smart. He has a number of different videos, this podcast that you can look into, and I'll find one and put it in the description. But the main purpose of his information and research was the endogenesis process and finding foods that were anti-endogenesis as well as non-carcinogens. So he has a bunch of information, and that's where I got turmeric from, garlic, and he has a lot of information on those foods. And then the other doctor that I focus on is Dr. Siegfried. He's from, I think it's Boston University of Boston. He's been a biologist pretty much his entire career, and he's focused on pretty much nothing but cancer. I've been doing keto, carnivore, whatever you want to call it. And when I got to Dr. Siegfried, his information started kind of meshing up with what I've learned so far about ketosis and the way your body reacts and how the body processes for energy and how cells build up. And they came to the conclusion that we were kind of looking at cancer wrong. And again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a licensed physician, not a therapist. None of those things. I don't have the certificates. You all should do your research. This is some of the research that I've found. And I've come to see a lot of reputable information backing up their theories and their philosophies. And unfortunately, it's not something that could be monetized, I guess you could say, as much as chemotherapy and the standard medicine. It's how cancer cells feed, whereas still Dr. William Lee, they still kind of classify different cancers. And he's more into the immunotherapy as well as different chemotherapies and stuff like that. So I never really got chemotherapy and radiation and how harmful it was. And I mean, you just think about Chernobyl and all that stuff. And obviously, I'm no scientist. I don't know anything, but just your basic knowledge, radiation can't be good. And I know you gotta kill cancer to beat it, but what happens to everything around those cancer cells when you bombard it with radiation? Everybody needs to make their own research and their own choices, but Dr. Siegfried is more, I guess you could say, my mentality, where I'm leading to, and it's more nutritional. And he is based around a metabolic therapy. Him and his colleagues have come up with, I think they call it a push-pulse process of metabolic therapy, where instead of glycolysis, your body using glucose, glutamines, to create energy and burn energy for new cells, which cancer is a cell structure that replicates uncontrollably in the correct environment. When you have something that happened to you, say a chemical reaction that has destroyed certain parts, cells, and has created an environment for cancer to spread. Cancer cells mask themselves as your white blood cells. It's kind of like a soldier spy hiding with other soldiers so that he doesn't get caught. So your own immune system, which is very strong and amazing and has gotten us through so much, even with them kind of putting everything in our food right now, can't really do anything about cancer. It's a bitch. Pardon my French. It's a horrible disease. But Dr. Siegfried, and there was a couple other doctors that I've had the opportunity to read their information and listen to them do a TED Talk. This young lady that was studying cancer as well found out that it feeds on gluten and glutamine. And the fermentation process, cancer goes back to before oxygen was even on the planet. Cellular levels of creation, there's a fermentation process. So even without oxygen, cancer can thrive. So it needs gluten and glutamine, though, to live. I don't know, in our specific situation, what the outcome will be. I'm trying to be as hopeful as possible. I want to share this process just in case, like I said, if anybody has anything going on in their life, friends, family, acquaintances that you may see, I don't know. If one person gets help, then I think it's the appropriate thing to share it. Again, I'm not a doctor, but the basis behind this information is you have to cut out all the hormones, the nasty stuff that are in the food, preservatives. You have to be your own advocate when it comes to what you put in your body. You have to cut out glucose. And you can do that with keto. And the ketones, when you're in ketosis, cancer can't burn those from this information and what I've studied and what I found out for energy. They can't use it to replicate. So you're slowly starving the cancer cells. I'm trying to remain hopeful and stay positive, and he's my best friend, so I want to do the best I can. We're feeding him pretty much nothing but beef at this point, grass-fed, making sure it's no added hormones, antibiotics, anything like that. We had a really rough Friday where we thought it was probably that day. And then I carried him outside, and we were hanging out outside. And slowly, we kind of warmed him up. We think what happened was because of what he's going through, and it's being hard for him to eat food with the tumor where it's at, and process things, which I'm working on everything I can to chop things up as finely as possible. He was looking good. Thursday we did like 5 laps, around the ditch. But unfortunately, I didn't see, I guess, just how skinny he's gotten. It was rough. I fell asleep. I've been trying not to sleep so I can be there for him whenever he needs to get up and go outside, so he doesn't have to use the dog door and put any pressure on his side because of the tumor and how large it is, and what they tell you, it can rupture at any time and he'll just bleed out. So we didn't want him to do that. So after carrying him outside, he kind of warmed up. I got him to walk a little bit, gave him water, CBD, and got him to walk around more and more. And sorry, I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent from cancer and what we're doing for it, but this is part of the process of, I guess, treating it and going through it. You need to be very vigilant on your surroundings, your variables in the scientific process of trying to combat this vicious disease and fight it. But I really do think you can fight it, and I don't think it's something that is unbeatable, and I want to keep that mindset, and that's why I'm doing these videos as well. For me, mentally. So what we're doing, to finish that up, he was looking really bad, and we think it was too cold in the house, and he lost so much body weight already that he almost went into a mild hypothermia. And I mean, he woke me up just shaking, and he wouldn't move. So I carried him outside to get warm. Just wanted him to be outside and enjoy the day. But got him up, got him walking, and throughout the day, I spent pretty much the whole day on the ground with him. And then we got him up again once we went back inside after we got him walking outside, and took him outside, go to the bathroom and everything. And then I walked him around the backyard, did some laps with him, and you could kind of tell he was getting a little bit better. And that's where we kind of come to the conclusion we need to try to literally feed this man as much as possible, and he is eating. And we got a 2 ribeye steaks out and started cutting it up, and he was tearing it up. So that was our Friday, unfortunately. So it's been a rough Friday, and we actually had a rough day today, kind of. You kind of reach for things sometimes, but all you can do is be there for him and do everything you can to comfort him, as well as medically what you know how to do. And that for me is make him comfortable, and with some CBD, we're using mushrooms. So I'll go through what we're doing for him. I'm slightly following Dr. Siegfried. I'm taking some information from Dr. William Lee, and then I'm also following the Joe Tipton story. So that is something I suggest everyone go look into. So when we wake up in the morning, I try to get him to eat. And then we have supplements from Pet Vitalities, I believe it's called. I'll get the actual information, put it in the description. It's a supplement for immune system. And then there's a dewormer called Pancure C, and it's based around a drug called fenbenzonal. I'm gonna butcher all these words, but I'll write everything down in the description. And this is part of the Joe Tipton story. It's starting to rain like crazy on me. I kind of love it, just swinging in the rain. But it's fenbenzonal. It's a dewormer. It's So it's like an anti-parasite medication, and as well as lipids from Pet Vitality. They have a whole kind of a line, I guess you would say, for holistic dietary metabolism style cancer treatment for dogs. And it was pretty crazy how it matched up with my information from Dr. Siegfried and the Joe Tipton story. So it's almost like it was meant to be. I hope you guys can still hear me pretty good, even over the rain. So after giving him those 3, we then give him mushroom extracts, which we use Life Cycle here at the house, and he gets a mixture of cordyceps, chaga, reishi, and turkey tail. We take shiitake, but I've never really given him shiitake, and we do reishi in the evening and cordyceps in the morning. Mushrooms have some great science behind their cancer treatments and cancer fighting capabilities. But you have to get out there. You have to be proactive. You have to want to fight. You want to beat the thing. It sucks. I hate it. Cancer sucks. I'm going to put as much information as I can in the description for anybody that wants to learn more and has people out there. But Joe Tipton used that dewormer as well as coumarin. That's another one I use. Pardon me, I didn't add to it. As well as CBD. And he was left for dead, long story short, after over $1.2 million worth of conventional cancer treatments, chemotherapy, all sorts of stuff. And he did research, got kind of act of God, faith, lucky, whatever you want to call it, a veterinarian that told him about this dewormer, mixed it with curcumin and forbenzenol, and or CBD, excuse me, and he's cancer free. They gave him 3 months to live before that. So I hope everybody's having a great day. I love you all. Be vigilant, stay positive, be kind to one another, and if you have any questions, I'll do the best. I mean, I'm learning as much as possible right now. I'm no expert. This is all new to me. But I'm learning, and I know some things, and I'm trying to learn more. And if there's anything I can help anybody about it, Jaxs and I are trying to fight the good fight. But have a great week. Take care.